Ding dong. Ooh, hello. Hi, y'all. Happy Sunday. Welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing on this day? Happy TikTok ban day? Like, it's not a happy day. It's only in the US. I'm also aware of that. But I'm gonna miss y'all on TikTok. What a weird opener to the stream. But hi, hello. Hello, hi. Hi, hello. Hello, hi. Hi, hello. My real room is back, so that's fun. My hair looks interesting today. It's doing the flippy thing. So, you know, I just sort of gave up on it today. So yeah. That's it. Thanks for watching. No. But yes, I'm here. I'm streaming, and I wanted to say hi. On Friday, I didn't stream, as some of you probably noticed. Or at least I'm hoping that some of you noticed. Or else it's like, oh, nobody noticed that I was gone. Okay, work. Which is also a possibility. That could have happened. But in any case, it's nice to be here. Actually, as I said on my short from that day, essentially ended up being sort of one of those days where I just had like a friend call, and we just ended up having a chat. Originally before the stream, and then as the time was progressing, I was sort of like, yeah, maybe I just won't stream today. I was having one of those very weird days where like I didn't know what to stream. And I was telling my friend this, like, sometimes I get into a habit, or I get into like a specific schedule, and I just fulfill it, even if sometimes I know, or I can feel that that specific stream may not go a certain way or whatever, and I still do it anyways, just because I have such a thing for like just following through with the schedule or whatever. But Fridays have been so weird, because there is really no schedule for Fridays. Like, y'all know that I'm gonna be here, but like sometimes I do metaphor, sometimes I do something else, and to me it's always like whenever I have to make a decision on what I'm gonna do that day, it's always a little bit of a struggle. Today was also very weird like that. It's not necessarily that I didn't know what to do, but it was more of like, I'm in a very weird mental place with streaming, and I feel like it's okay to share that. I feel like streaming is still like one thing that it just doesn't really work out the way that I would want it to. It's very strange. It's very strange, and maybe it's time for a little break, because I did start, at least on here, in September of last year. So it's already been a little over, well, I guess it's been roughly 4 months, I guess, since I started. At least here, obviously, on YouTube. Streaming, that is. It's been like 10 years since I started with videos and stuff, but yeah, it's not been 10 years since I started streaming. So but yeah, it's hard to explain without sounding like I'm complaining or whatever. But it's what am I trying to say? It's tricky because it's like I pick up like a game that I'm excited for, and I pick up a thing that I want to do, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Fun times. And I have a great time with certain games and certain series and stuff like that. I'm specifically, I can be direct with y'all. I'm talking specifically about Metaphor ReFantagio, and also specifically about the PS1 demo series. I'm not even mentioning the game that I started that I did a couple streams of. Finding love on what was it? Love on Air, voice love on air. What was it? I forget what it's called. Voice love on air. Yes. I'm not even mentioning that one, because that one is like, I get it why it flops. Because it's a game that doesn't even have a category on here, you know what I mean? So it's like, I get it, I understand. Numeilha, yes, hello, on an island. Are you on an island? Am I on an island? I'm on a continent of Europe. That's not really an island. But how's it going? How do I say your name? SNTJCBB. I just said letter by letter. I just said letter by letter, Can't go wrong with that. We were listening to this Brazilian song called Numeilha. Oh, I don't know of that song. Well, I hope that you're enjoying it. I don't know why you brought it up randomly on your first message here. But you used to watch me so long ago. Wait, what? Are you serious? What was I posting when you used to watch me? That's wild. Yes. Oh my god, I did. I had a couple. Yeah. Holy shit. Yes. Oh my god, with Christina and Ash. Haven't spoken to them in so long. You were tapped in. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I hope you've been well. Yeah, that podcast eventually ended. It just ended up naturally ending. I think it was just like everyone just ended up proceeding with their own lives and stuff, myself included. I also think like that podcast was very long. Like we had a lot of episodes for it. So yeah, it's been very long since then. Jeez. That's very nice. I don't have that many people that sometimes show up and they're like, "Oh my god, I used to watch you." So that's really interesting. Wow. I gotta tap back into podcasting. I seemed good at it. Thank you. I don't know. I feel like everyone has a podcast now. You know what I mean? I guess everyone streams, everyone makes YouTube videos. Yeah, I guess nothing is really that unique anymore, but yeah. I think I burned myself out from podcasting because I podcasted so much. I did that show and then I ended up having another one on Twitch. And then another one, like a gaming specific one. And all of them were like weekly and involved like some of them involved having like a guest every week. Some involved having like, you know, a bunch of topics prepared every single week and stuff like that. So I have thought about it. I do miss it a lot. I do miss it a lot. Me and a friend, well, actually me and a couple other friends, two different friends came up with two different concepts for two different podcasts that we just ended up not really following through with them for various reasons. But I do miss it. I did like there's just something, I find podcasting very fun because like it's kind of like long form, so you don't have to, you know, hurry up in making your point, or you don't have to like there's like an interaction with somebody else and like a, you know, sharing of opinions with other people. And it's a good, you know, I always found it a good excuse to invite people that I've always wanted to talk to but was too shy to ask or to, you know, message or whatever. So it was under the guise of like, hey, it's a podcast. I have a podcast, so you want to come on my podcast and talk? So yeah, I've made some friends over the years because of that. Under the guise of like, you know, hey, do you wanna chat? Do you want a podcast? Yeah, but there's so many of them now, and it's like it's podcasts are their own thing now. I feel like they have their own like separate channel, their own branding, their own like social media pages to promote and stuff like that, and that just seems like a lot of work. I would podcast if I didn't have to do all of that work myself. Because I've never just like been a co-host on a podcast. Like I've always been sort of like, yeah, like because they were all on my channel, so I was always like in charge, right? So I always had to like, you know, do the titles and do the descriptions and thumbnails and like spearhead like inviting guests and making sure everyone's on schedule and making sure that everyone can make it to that podcast and managing those like last minute things of like people canceling last minute or whatever the case may be. So podcasting is tough. I do miss it. I do miss it a lot. It would definitely have to be like a shared situation where like I either only do like half of the work or like, yeah, it's like very evenly split kind of thing. But yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. I don't think I get that many people who've been like, oh my god, I used to watch your stuff all the time. So that's really neat. I really appreciate that. Oh my god. I was just about to today is kind of podcasty, actually. Today's stream is sort of like a little bit of me talking about just stuff and what I'm feeling and all that stuff. So yeah, today's kind of podcasty. Ooh, what I've been up to. I've been streaming for a few years now. On Twitch mostly. Then I got wrongfully banned. And so I've been streaming on here, which I have found that I do enjoy streaming on YouTube. It's a long story. It's a long story. Long story short, a friend clipped something out of context as a joke. And I guess Twitch has some sort of system that automatically checks clips and moderates them in real time. So it was like something that was taken out of context that sounded bad out of context and got me automatically banned. And then when I tried to explain the situation and appeal my account and like get my account back and get it appealed, it got like automatically shut down. So like I don't so yeah. It was funny. Ultimately it was funny. Ultimately it was funny. Was it worth me losing my account? No. But my friend who did that does feel really bad about it, and so like, you know, I don't want, like, I would never want them to be, you know, sad about it or anything of the sort. But yeah, I think I get to try again in like six months after you get banned. I think you can try to get your account reinstated or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know how that works or how I would go about doing that. But so yeah, I'll do that whenever it's been 6 months, which is still, it's only been like 4 months since then. So but I do like streaming on here. Like I do like the fact that the VODs actually get watched on here, because on Twitch they just sort of like, you have to upload them to a YouTube channel, because people don't really watch VODs on Twitch because their video, like their video on demand situation isn't great, because Twitch is built for like live streaming, kind of similarly to how YouTube is built for, you know, watching videos pre-recorded and such. So yeah. But it's cute. Like I don't really mind it. I do get similar results to, like, statistically I do get similar results to what I got on Twitch. You know what I mean? So it isn't saying much. As far as like viewer average and all that stuff, like it's pretty similar. Which brings me to what I was initially like gonna talk about, where I'm currently in a very weird space mentally when it comes to streaming, because, like, for example, like I love to play like a juicy JRPG that takes like a few you know, that takes a long time to get through, and that has like a long story, and you know, there's like a lot of dialogue, and like I love a juicy JRPG. I love me some like retro shenanigans and stuff like that. But it's just that sometimes, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes those things don't get the same appreciation, or a level of appreciation that I would love them to get, you know? So it's rough to sort of just like okay, so what ends up happening is I'm really excited about a game, I stream it. At first, sometimes there's a bit of an audience for it, and people are a little like, okay, intrigued by this. But then once it gets to like part 17 or part 28 or whatever of that, then people just sort of start not showing up to those. And then it sort of becomes a situation where at first I'm excited and I love streaming that game because I love that game. And then it becomes like, I love playing that game, but streaming that game is challenging because people don't respond to it sometimes at all, right? And it's very difficult to stream and nobody is watching, or it feels like nobody's watching, or at least not in real time and stuff like that. And then you start doubting yourself, like, oh, are people not watching because I'm bad? Because I'm not entertaining enough, because I'm not, you start to think all of these things. You start doubting yourself, and then you start believing this narrative that like, oh, people don't want to see this game because this game is boring, because people are not watching it. But then I get into a mental dilemma of like, I love playing this game, and I'm having fun with it. But then it's like before the stream, I kind of dread that stream because I'm like, I'm gonna play this and I love this game, but like nobody gives a shit about it. Like that's how it feels in the moment, right? And so it's tough because I feel like you get told all the time by all these different channels to like be yourself and do whatever you love, because people can tell when you love something and or when you're phoning it in or whatever. And then you do the things that you love and then that you gravitate towards and stuff like that, and then they don't get viewed. And then there's not really a response to it, or comparatively to like other stuff, maybe it doesn't get the response that one would hope or whatever. And people say all the time that expectations are premeditated resentments, but it's not like I expect to get like thousands or even hundreds of views when I especially live. It doesn't really happen. But yeah, it sort of puts me in this weird mental place of like, well, I don't want to, because like what I worry about is I feel like it's very tricky. It's very tricky to explain, but what is my intention behind streaming? It's just something creatively that I love to do. I love to stream because it's like a thing that I have fun with. Like first of all, I love the live interactions with people, and I love the idea of like people who love a specific game or a specific type of game coming together and like nerding out about certain things, and and for me to provide a place for people to like chill, and for me to do for others what others do for me, in the sense of like, when I'm bored or whenever I'm not having a good day, I can turn on like a stream that I like, you know what I mean? And it improves my day, and like, or watching someone play a game that I like, and it puts me like I get to re-experience it almost in a way through their lens, So I would love to provide that for others, but it gets very tricky when I think it's like when numbers get involved, right? Because like when I first came here, first of all, at the very first stream that I did here was actually the day I got banned on Twitch. And to me, it was like, oh yeah, I'm streaming on here because I got banned on Twitch. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like a long-term sort of thing. And then once that possibility came in, I was like, okay, like, I'm just gonna treat this as a new start, no pressure sort of space where, like, you know, it's okay if I flop because I don't really stream on here and stuff like that. So in the very beginning it was that, like 4 months ago, like in September. But I think, I don't know if it's necessarily triggering, but it's like when I start to see that like similar things are sort of repeating themselves, like, you know what I mean? Like what was happening on Twitch was starting to happen here, where like I was sort of like stagnant numbers wise and getting in my head about that. And then, you know, what I worry about is like, because I know some people, they like, I know and I follow channels that like they play a specific game, and then if after a few streams or whatever that specific game doesn't perform a certain way, they just drop it and move on. But I worry that it becomes a situation where like I stream a game and then it doesn't perform a certain way and then I drop it, and then it's like an endless loop of like, what if that keeps happening to every game that I pick up, and then I develop a reputation of like, oh, that person like never finishes their games, they're always like jumping from game to game, and like, you know. So but I love documenting my full experience with a game, right? Like my reactions to certain events, my all of that stuff. Like I love that, you know. So it's very it's tricky, it's tough. But yeah, like I know rationally that, like, you know, I haven't been streaming on here for that long, so it's like, it's okay, like, you know, don't worry too much about that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you know, yeah, when it feels like you're just sort of stagnating, or yeah, it can get pretty overwhelming to, I guess what I'm trying to say is like whenever you're really excited for something and then it's like the people on the other side aren't excited for that, then it makes you be like, then what do I do? Like it makes me start questioning like my own. It's not that I question my taste, because everyone loves whatever games that they love, but it's like, oh, I thought that was pretty fun. Like what, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh. Perspective of a consumer / audience, I gag for a personality as opposed to the actual game. So I think maybe becoming accessible to many people can open you up. What do you mean by becoming accessible to many people? I don't disagree, because I think, obviously I think, you know, there's plenty of people that have streamed games that I love that I click on their stuff and I just don't click with them. As like people, you know, I find, you know, I don't connect with their sense of humor, or, you know, whatever disconnection may be there, you know. But yeah. And then the back and forth that I keep going on is like, but I see people that have an audience playing, for example, like Metaphor, ReFantagio. Like there's people, and it's interesting because like I'll scroll through Twitch, for example, and I'll see people that are doing very similar things, like even that same game, and like somebody could have hundreds of viewers and somebody can have like 5, and it's like, what, like how, like what makes that person with hundreds of views better than the person who has like 5 views? You know what I mean? I'm just sort of like, what, how does that work? Maybe branching between many different platforms would be the most successful in gaining an audience, because you'd be accessible by many. Yeah, I agree. I don't think YouTube is the best for sustaining live streams. That's true. I think YouTube can be good in the sense of like people can watch them, like people have easy access to them. Like once you have an audience, they can watch your stuff very easily and they will get your stuff recommended fairly easily. But it's finding the audience that I think is tricky. Even on Twitch, that's the thing that people say. It's like it's hard to find an audience on Twitch itself. Like you have to be posting on TikTok and Instagram and Reels and all this stuff, which I've been trying to do that this year. I've been uploading like shorts and TikToks and stuff like that daily. They're not necessarily related to my streams, as in like none of them so far. I think most of them so far have just been like documenting my life and like certain like day-to-day things and my little like almost like tiny vlogs in a way. So maybe that can help in a way, but we'll see. But then now it's like with TikTok getting banned in the US, it's like a whole other issue as well. I think you have to have a certain amount of followers to stream on TikTok. Oh, okay. Bye. What an interesting little message, that one. As far as I'm aware, my audience across platforms has always been majority US. I forget how you can check that on TikTok, like with your analytics and stuff like that. But it's been US based for a while. Yeah, like 60% of people who have watched my videos, I guess over the last 7 days, but I guess I can do last 60 days. Yeah, a big percentage, at least on TikTok, is US. 35% is US. And then, interestingly enough, Nigeria is 16%. Mexico is 10%. And then you have Germany with 8%. And then France, UK, Colombia, 4.2%. And then, yeah, Czech Republic, Portugal. Interesting. Sorry for the weird interference. That might have been my phone. So yeah, it's sort of like split like all over the place, but there's like usually a pretty major majority that is US based, but then again, I do think that I do agree that I understand that at its core, the issue is just like more. It's not necessarily just that like, oh, my streams suck or that specific game sucks for growth or whatever. It's just like, it's probably just like there needs to be an extra effort maybe put in there, where like maybe as I'm doing this metaphor playthrough, that I make the time to upload metaphor specific shorts and TikToks and stuff like that, so that people can, you know, they can be like, they can see a short, that like a funny short or something like that, and they can be like, oh my god, that person streams this game, oh my god, I wonder if they're still streaming it, or you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's definitely a thing that That's definitely a thing that I really want to do as well. But I agree, you can find an audience everywhere, and I think that was also part of the conversation that I had with this friend on Friday, where I feel like sometimes, and I just did it, I guess, today, right now, like as I'm streaming right now, where it's so easy to sort of put the blame on certain aspects outside of your control. Like, oh, it's like, you know, oh, maybe people aren't interested in that specific game. Maybe it's the time you go live in. Maybe it's the thumbnails. Maybe it's the titles. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. And it's like, ultimately, you know, I guess just putting in more effort into everything in general is probably the way to go about it. And it's way easier said than done, because when I say putting in an effort, that means like skimming through hours of, you know, live footage from these streams and finding like a fun moment that I think will be good enough for a short video, and then, you know, editing it and all that stuff, and then doing that kind of thing consistently as well. So yeah, but I do believe that like it's doable. It's just a matter of like sometimes figuring out what I could do to help myself. And that's kind of like the root of today's stream as well. Like I'm currently at, it's not really a crossroads, it's just more of like I'm in a place where I'm not sure what I want to do streaming wise. It's like I feel like my thing is like I want to finish what I started. So like I want to finish playing Metaphor ReFantagio. I want to finish the PS1 demos series that I've been doing. And I want to, you know, also finish Voice Love on Air. Like I want to make sure that I do like a full series out of everything that I do and that I completed and stuff like that. At the moment though, I am torn about like most things. Like I'm not sure if I want to stream 4 times a week anymore. I'm not sure if it's gonna go down to 3 times a week. I'm not sure if for those 3 days, if I'm gonna play just one game, like the same game all throughout until I'm done with that game and then I move on to something else. I'm not sure if that will mean that I want to do longer streams to make up for the fact that it's only 3 days. And then like obviously keeping in mind an added effort of like posting shorts and posting clips and stuff like that, so that the people TM know that I'm streaming and that I'm playing this game, and it's not necessarily just like through me going like, oh hi, I'm streaming today, and that it's like more than that. So yeah, does that make sense at all, what I just said? Also, I don't love that this narrative is being built right now. This is completely unrelated, but I just opened Blue Sky out of habit, and I don't like that. There's this narrative that is being built at like, oh, Trump is gonna bring TikTok back, almost like he's some sort of savior, when he's the one that put this in motion to get the app banned in 2020. He was the one who started this. He's the one who literally called to like, you know, he started this movement to get the app banned. Anyway. Like he was literally responsible for it, and now like even TikTok apparently is like, we really want to thank President Trump for working with us to try to get the app back. It's like, mama, he was the one who tried to get you banned, and now he's the one that's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna get it back, I'm gonna be the hero. Like, that's not how that works. I wonder if the people, like, I don't even know, like the Senate or like the whoever. I'm not from the U.S., so I don't know all these things. But I wonder if the people who were like working on getting this banned and they're now seeing what he's saying, they're like, wait a minute, but wait a minute. I wonder if they're like, wait, but this is because of what? Anyways, so yeah, I'm not expecting obviously to come up with a solution or to I'm not doing this with any specific intention in mind. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking, like, there's nothing in particular. There's no particular thing that there's no particular agenda for this stream. It's more of like, just me sharing with y'all where I'm at mentally and like with the streams and stuff like that. And wanting to be honest about that as well. And not necessarily wanting to just fulfilling the schedule and being like pretending everything's fine kind of thing. I just really wanted to, because that always ends up seeping in through the content itself. Like I end up talking about this when I'm playing Metaphor. I end up talking about this whenever, like, so I just figured it would be good for me to just talk about it on a separate thing so that I don't necessarily bring it up or taint other streams with this sort of energy. Oh yeah, I don't think it's just foreign affairs. I think this whole TikTok ban thing is like, I think it's a thing that is very convenient on multiple fronts, because first of all, it makes it so that TikTok is an app that has one of the best algorithms. So the reason this whole thing got started with the ban and all that stuff was never because of China, was never because it's owned by or partially owned by China or whatever. Like, it's never been about that. It's always been about like how TikTok has always been very crucial. It's been a crucial way for people to get information. There was some sort of study or statistic where people said that a lot of TikTok users used it as a search engine. So some people that use TikTok used TikTok more than they used Google for like anything. Any of their queries, they looked it up on TikTok first. And TikTok was a good place for community. It was a good place, like, just community building. And I think that's scary to politicians who are fascists. Building community is scary for people who want to control you, because they want to control the narrative. They want to control the information that goes out to people. They want to be able to control people individually and collectively. And if people are together and they're standing together, and if they're able to find like-minded people easily, then that's an issue to them. It's not a coincidence that Trump is becoming a president at the same time as like Elon Musk, obviously not a few months ago, but you know what I mean. Like, Elon Musk buying Twitter is within the same agenda, and ruining Twitter is in the same agenda. Meta and like Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, like their policies changing and things going downhill on those platforms is also not a coincidence that it's all happening at the same time. It's all a very intentional effort to get people, to separate people, to make sure that people are also, like, if the app is there, they're also gonna get flooded with AI shit, and they're gonna get flooded with like stuff that isn't real, misinformation, chaos. And that's what they want. You know, they want people to be scary that their data is being taken by the Chinese, when in fact your data is probably more likely being taken by Meta, which is a US based company. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's all interconnected. And like now, like Israel finally agreeing to ceasefire the second that Trump gets in there to make him look good. It's all planned. It's all like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not kid ourselves. It's all sort of like interwoven. And it's harder for people to access that kind of information if, like, they don't have a specific app on their country anymore. Or if they're, you know, if people are scattered across multiple social medias. Like, if instead of being on Twitter mainly, people are scattered between Twitter and Threads and Blue Sky and Mastodon and, you know what I mean? It's more convenient for terrible people if we're all over the place. But yeah, sorry to bring all that up. I guess, you know, that has a place in our conversation, because I think also like real life events do affect content creators. Like, as much as sometimes we don't talk about those things on stream and stuff like that, it does affect us, obviously, because we're people who, you know, exist in the same world as all that stuff is happening. And sometimes we may not necessarily talk about it all the time, or we may not necessarily, you know, feature it in every single piece of content and media that we do. But, you know, I think it does also sort of like affect us. And sometimes it can, you know, it can sort of add to the stress and burnout and all of the above. Yeah, welcome back. Oh, I know all about my hair being all over the place, because my hair is oftentimes all over the place. Case in point, I managed to make it look somewhat decent, but it wasn't without a lot of hard work. And honestly, ultimately me giving up at the end. Ultimately, just ended up with me giving up. But anyways, yeah. Yeah, that's basically kind of the point of today's stream. It probably won't be a super large one, because like I feel like whenever I end up doing these chatty kind of streams, I feel awkward about like, you know, doing like hopping into a game afterwards kind of thing. Hold on, my heater is doing too much at the moment. I feel kind of awkward like jumping into a game or something like that, especially if it happens to be kind of like a part of an ongoing series. Like if I were to do like the PS1 demos or something like that, I guess I could do quite literally anything else, but I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, with that in mind, let me not, I keep out of habit like opening socials and stuff like that. Sorry. If you saw me looking this way too much, it's because I got distracted. I was getting distracted by social media because I was instinctively opening it up. So what I wanted to say as well is that with that in mind, I don't know what you can expect moving forward with the streams. And so please be patient with me as I sort of figure out the direction that I want to take this channel in. Not that I think I want to do something completely drastic in like what I'm doing or something like that, but I really want to address and sort of like lock in. I want to address my floppiness that has sort of been an ongoing thing for years now across different media, like social media pages and stuff. I really want to address that and just really lock in and start like succeeding at this thing, you know, like really taking this. It's not that I haven't been taking it seriously, but like taking it to another level where like I'm putting in more work or more focused work onto like, okay, I need to get more things uploaded, more things out there, more things going, be more conscious about my efforts, you know, if that means, you know, streaming slightly less so that I can accommodate for posting more outside of streaming, then that could also be an option. And just sort of figuring out, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, rather than stopping what I've been doing, I want to address and figure out how I can fix the issues. Because I don't think that it would make sense for me to stop doing the things that I love. Because there are people who succeed, at least in my eyes, they are successful doing similar stuff to what I want to do. And so I want to, instead of me trying to like, okay, then if this game doesn't get a certain amount of views, I'm not going to play it anymore. Like I want to figure out like, okay, how can I get it to get more views? Because stuff like that doesn't get just fixed by like, oh, I'm just changing up my thumbnails a little bit, or like, oh, I'm going live a few hours earlier or later and that will fix it. Like, no, that kind of stuff is like multi-layered usually. And, you know, yeah. So this has to be sort of a thing that is addressed on a multi-layer kind of level. Like for me to watch back a stream and come up with things that I could do like while I'm live to make things better or more entertaining or funnier or whatever. Find things on the backstage that I can do to improve you know, maybe like how the stream looks or like, but ultimately I do think that a lot of that stuff doesn't matter. I think sometimes we're under the impression that like, oh, my stream will get more views if my camera is better, or my stream will get more views if I have fancier graphics or whatever. But like, I think ultimately it's like, I think the people just care about the content at its core, and they won't care about it if you're not on their radar. So it's also a matter of putting yourself on their radar and posting stuff that's like related to what you're doing. And otherwise, like, you know, if people get invested in my daily videos as well somehow, or if they enjoy a particular video that I happen to put out or whatever, then, and they resonate with that and they want to see more, then that's also another thing. But yeah. You would probably surround yourself with people who are making the content that I want to / doing similar stuff. You might all help each other out. Yeah. You think my stream is good quality? Thank you. Thank you so much. I think at a baseline, I see there's people who are at the top of the game streaming wise that have, you know, like their setups, some of them are also pretty simple and like, you know, like, you know, there are streamers who do like, they have like 4K cameras and they have like super intricate setups and stuff like that. But there's also people that are at the top of their game that have like a lot of like default setting, like chat on their screen, and like, you know, like they're not necessarily doing something completely out of the ordinary. They're just like really locked into what they're doing. Like, and obviously they have teams to help with that. Like they have a team where, you know, they probably have shorts popping up every single day and sometimes multiple times a day. And they probably have a team so that, you know, they have like edited streams and stuff like all that stuff. But I think I can do that on maybe a smaller scale and just work my way up, I think. You could never stream because you just sing the songs you're listening to and then the whole stream is just you sounding wild. You know what helps is when you're streaming, you're usually not allowed to play copyrighted material. So it helps that just listening to an instrumental sometimes is just very helpful because then you won't sing along to it. I personally like to listen to Game Chops because their stuff doesn't get copyrighted. And it's like video game music. So it's like, it sounds familiar, but it's also not something that I will sing along to necessarily. But you know, that I feel like you could sell that as well. Like, you know, I feel like there's a funny clip there to be had about like someone who's like having a normal conversation and then their favorite song comes up and they start singing and they sound wild. I feel like there's a funny clip there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think sometimes, and that's something that I really want to do, is like sometimes you just gotta believe in yourself. Because I feel like sometimes I get into it really is a snowball, and it's really tricky to challenge it and to snowball the opposite way, because it's very easy for you to get excited about an idea and then do it, and then it doesn't perform as well as you thought it would, and then it starts going downhill, and then you start thinking like, oh, my ideas suck. The games that I love suck. They don't get viewership. oh, maybe it's not even the games. Maybe it's me. I'm bad. I'm not entertaining enough. And then you just start, and then you're like, oh, maybe I could make a clip. But then you're like, I'm not funny. People don't care about my stuff. I'm not funny. I'm not entertaining. I'm not good. And so it becomes a whole thing where, like, in order for you to reverse that, it's like, wait a minute. No, there's probably something there. There's probably something, like, so yeah. And also just like, I think, wait, let me read what you're saying because I think it might be relevant to what I was going to say. It's so hard to be comfortable with the idea of like loving something so much you're okay with it not doing well or making profit. Right. But also that's kind of the thing that I want to work hard to, I don't know how to say this in English. So let me bring up Translate and let me figure that out. Counter. That's the word I want. I want to counter and contradict that mentality that, like, in order for you to make successful content, you have to kind of sacrifice doing something that you love. Like, I really want to challenge that. And because, like, I feel like that's sort of a thing that has been ingrained in so many of us, where it's like, no, you gotta sell out. Like, you have to do something that you don't love in order to succeed, or you have to grind something out, or you have to, but like, no, I do genuinely believe that there's an audience to be found about everything. And that everyone sort of has their own little corner that they can sort of kind of market in their own way. But it has to be a matter of you believing in yourself. And it's tricky because when you flop, you stop believing in yourself. And so it's hard to stand up against those thoughts and against yourself. And honestly, I get very comfortable. And that's something that is like real life matching with content creation, as far as like, that, like, okay, for example, like in your real life, and you know that one thing in your house that's like broken, but that you never fix, like you just sort of like deal with it, you just sort of like walk around it. Or that thing that you're always like, I should do something about this one day. But then at some point you sort of get comfortable with that being the way that it is, that you don't even like, it's like you get too comfortable with that being broken that you don't even prioritize fixing it. I think that's where I've been at for a little bit with content creation, where it's like, I feel like maybe at some point I just accepted that I'm a flop and that that's all I'll ever be. And that maybe I didn't deserve better than that. And then I feel like I just passively continued doing what I was doing, hoping for the best. But at the same time, I think it's a mixture of like feeling comfortable with like, this is just who I am and that's probably what I'll be, but I'll keep going just in case. And also like feeling like you don't know where to start to make these changes to, to make things better. And I think that sometimes you just gotta go for the easy bottom of the barrel kind of stuff at first, and then I feel like you'll eventually climb up the ranks and figure out your own voice and your own space or whatever. Might be a collective feeling because I told myself I would make a short film and I'm still struggling with really bringing it to fruition. Oof. Yeah. Do you also struggle with that sort of thing of like, I want to do this thing looks really cool in theory, but in practicality, I have no idea how to get there. And figuring out that first step is terrifying and also paralyzing. So you just keep putting it off and then you never do it. Yeah, that's how I feel about, I think, like, just generally speaking, my content creation journey. I feel like, I don't know, like, I think obviously there's a part of it that's like sometimes I can get myself to work on those things because probably some sort of weird mixture of like ADHD and other stuff that makes it so that sometimes I just can't sit down and like edit a video. Like my brain just like rejects that idea kind of thing. And it's really difficult to just lock in when, you know, your brain is not neurotypical. Which is, you know, next week I'll have a whole thing about that because next week I actually have a psychiatrist appointment. So, yeah. You find yourself telling yourself you don't know what to do next, but you think it's more rationalizing yourself into not doing it because of a fear of failure. I think so too. Because I do that. And I forget where I saw it, but I saw somewhere, it's a psychology thing where like sometimes it's like when people ask you, how are you doing? And you're like, I don't know. And you just, like when you find yourself answering, I don't know to a lot of things, you're actually, it's sort of like, yeah, that's sort of like you're avoiding figuring out why. And it's like, no, you don't know. So let's figure it out. Let's, you know, oh my God. Yes. Yes. Sometimes you genuinely don't know. And sometimes it's like, well, but could I try to find out? Could I try to figure it out? Like it is, I do think it's, at least for me, it's a mixture of both. Because sometimes I'll have a conversation with a friend and it's like, yeah, the solution is to start posting shorts. And then I'm like, yeah, the solution is right there, but I don't feel like doing it. Like, I don't want to do it. So it's, what's up with that? Like, why don't you want to do it? Like, are you secretly afraid of succeeding? Are you secretly afraid of failing? Do you think that, I think what it is like, are you afraid of like, if you put in the extra mile, if you put in the extra amount of work and dedication to it, that it will be harder to get up if you fall? Because I think that now that I'm like really thinking about it, I feel like that could be like probably part of the core issue, right? Because it's like, I feel like I end up doing a lot of things at a baseline sort of level. Like with the streams, it's like, sometimes it's just like, hi, I'm here and I'm playing a video game. But it's like, maybe that's like my sort of like, that's some sort of defense mechanism of like, yeah, like maybe if I put in like more effort and more dedication to it, and if I really thought hard about like a good title and if I worked really hard on an amazing thumbnail, and if I, you know, if I did all these things and I uploaded all this stuff, then like, yeah, like, and if I still fail, then that would suck. So yeah, I mean, I think there's probably something to that as well. Damn. At the end of the day, I would never forgive myself if I didn't embark on my dream or something. Even though I'm afraid of something, you got to put your own desires and inner child dreams first. Yes, for sure. I've run out of water. I'm like bottom of the barrel right now. my bottle's like, absolutely. But I mean, it's so much easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done. Because there's so many external factors as well. And then you blame things on external factors. And then sometimes there is some truth to it, but sometimes it's like you're lacking your own accountability, and sometimes you're too harsh on yourself. And like, I would never speak to people the way that I speak about myself. Like, if I had a friend that came to me and was like, "Hey girl, my stuff has been flopping, and like, I really want to continue streaming and making content, but I don't know what to do," I would never say to them the shit that I say to myself in my head. Like, I would never be like, "You lazy fucking bitch, you gotta get to work, you gotta, like, you're just like, ugh." Hey Ash, oh my god, how are you? So good to see you. You're really mean to yourself? Yes. Same. We gotta practice self-compassion. Yeah. It's so funny because, like, I feel like sometimes I practice, like, sometimes I do it in a way of like, you know, it's not your fault, it's the algorithm. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I do that, where it's like, no, it's not you, sweetie. It's the algorithm, surely. But then I see other people around me succeeding in the same algorithm, so it's like, okay. But it's also not me. Like, it's not that I'm, as a person, am an issue, and that I'm terrible at everything, and that, you know, like, it's also, it's it's somewhere in the middle, where, like, you know, there's something there. You've been telling yourself that it doesn't have to be that hard, so maybe you just gotta focus on the small wins. Yes. And, like, yeah, for sure. Like, I've been something that I've been learning as I've been doing daily shorts is that it's sometimes it's about just getting it done. Because oftentimes we put all of these goals in our minds, and I say we and I mean I, because oftentimes let me speak for myself, but I feel like maybe y'all could agree or relate. I put all these goals in my head of like all these things that I would love to do, but I always come up with excuses. I'm always like, but I don't have the right equipment. Oh, but it would be so much better if I had a better camera. Oh, but it would be so much better if I had an editor to do this for me, because I don't love to edit videos. Oh, but it would be so much easier if I had a team. Oh, but it would be so much, like, and sometimes small things like, ugh, my hair looks ugly today, I'm not gonna film. And so all of this to say that me forcing myself to challenge myself to post a short every single day has made it so that no matter what, it's getting done. And so it doesn't matter if I wasn't the most eloquent speaking about the specific topic. It doesn't matter if the lighting kind of sucked that day. It doesn't matter if the captions were slightly off sync. Like, all that shit doesn't matter, because I'm like, I need to put this before midnight. So just fucking do it. And you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds so cliche and so simple, but like, just getting the thing done in a bare minimum sort of scale is the goal. Because, like, if you keep moving the goalpost, you're always gonna keep moving it. Because it's like, oh, I need a new microphone. Yeah, I'll do it once I get a new microphone. And then you get a new microphone and you're like, You know what? I think a camera. I need a new camera. And then you get a new camera. And then you're like, you know, my outfit isn't giving. Like there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something. You've been telling yourself it doesn't. Oh, I already read that. Sorry. That's what you say every day. I could never. It's definitely the algorithm. Yeah. Truly. Discipline is so funny. Like, I can really do something I said I would and be consistent with it. Yeah. You always feel better about getting it done. But just pushing yourself is the hard part. I'm good at giving. Ooh, yes. I'm so good at giving excuses too. You know what I found? I think what I'm taking away from this daily video thing is that a deadline is really fucking fierce. Because you know when you have to do an essay and you know about this essay for like a month. And if you're like me, you're not going to do it right away. You're submitting it at you know when you're locking in, you start to lock in at like 8 or 9 p.m. 2 or 3 hours before you're supposed to submit it, and you lock the fuck in and you get it done. And I think that's what it is. I think hey Mana, you right now doing your work required trading due tomorrow. But that is so real. That is so real. Jesus, that's so real. Hi, good morning. Holy shit. Wow, Mana. But yeah, like, I think having a deadline is it. And it's a deadline that you are gonna do. Like, it's not a deadline that you keep pushing for whatever reason. It's a deadline that that you say you're gonna do it, and maybe you tell somebody that you're gonna do it so they hold you accountable for it, or maybe you don't tell anybody. But you have to be really like, okay, bitch, I'm doing this. And you do it no matter what, even if it's like the shittiest thing you've ever made, like as far as like a video goes, for example, even if it's the shittiest video you've ever done, guess what? You did it. And you can learn from that process and apply it for the next one. And it's funny because I always say that, like, oh, I miss the magic of my early YouTube journey. But I don't, but it's the magic of my YouTube process back in the day was not the output, because a lot of those videos suck ass. I don't miss the videos themselves. And what I do miss, Mama, there's a reason 90% of my back catalog on here is privated. Like, but what I loved about it was making it. And I had a weekly schedule, and I said I was gonna have a video up every single like Wednesday or whatever. And no matter how shitty the video that week was, I had a video up that Wednesday. And it forced me to like sometimes be creative. Sometimes it would be a last minute thing of like, oh, I guess I'm just gonna react to a music video, whatever. Oh, I'm just gonna I'll do a cover, or like I'll do a BuzzFeed quiz or whatever, you know. But I forced myself to have like an output. And the funny thing is that I would learn something from every single video. I would learn even about like, just like, first of all, I hyperfixated myself out of an accent. That's like something that I feel like I still haven't like fully processed how that happened. But I hyperfixated myself out of an accent. So there's that. But literally, my early YouTube videos were so awkward and they were so cringy. But I'm so glad that I did them because I genuinely remember. I don't remember most of those videos, by the way. But I do remember making them. I remember how I felt. I remember I would get so sweaty. Like filming a video, I would be sweating. I would be like, I think it was like the adrenaline was like too much. But I would learn something new every time. I would learn about like, okay, girl, speak a little slower so that it's easier to cut around it. Or, you know what I mean? Like, instead of like judging yourself, like you give yourself constructive criticism so that next time it's better. And I think sometimes we lose that when numbers come into play, and we judge ourselves rather than what we could do. Like we judge what we've done rather than thinking like, what else could I do? Like, what can I add to this to make this better? Or what could I do to promote this better, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You need a schedule, but you're in the biggest creative block in the world. I will say having a schedule kind of forces you to be more creative, I've found. Because you get into a habit of creating something new every day. Or like, I say every day because I've been posting shorts every day. And like, I feel like a couple of my recent favorites were ones that I just did at one take. Well, one take. Some of them required a couple takes. But they were just more of like stream of consciousness sort of thing, or just like about a specific thing that I thought about that day, and not necessarily like a montage or like anything of the sort. Because it's like, I feel like I'm documenting a little bit of like what I felt that day, or what I was going through that day, or whatever the case may be. And so it's sort of put me in this sort of like mindset where like, okay, every day there's a little, like, it can be the tiniest little idea, and I make something out of it. Like, ooh, today I'm gonna show my K-pop collection, or like, ooh, today I'm gonna do like whatever. And so yeah, like I if I were to tell you something, is to just like give yourself, like, I don't know if your goal is to do it like a video a week, or once a month, or whatever, but like do it, but don't tell anybody that, I guess. But just like get into the habit of like doing it weekly, because I feel like your brain is gonna start, like, once I feel like you get started, even if it's like the shittiest idea in your mind, if it's like, this is shitty, you can always private it. You can always private it, or not post it, you know what I mean? But you can get into a habit of like just outputting, just making shit. It's like some writers just like write something every single day, like even if it's not necessarily to publish, they just get into the habit of writing for like 15 minutes or an hour every single day, and whatever comes out, and they just write whatever, even if it's like shit from a butt, but they just like write something. And I think that's also kind of what I need a little bit. And that's what I would recommend if I were to recommend anything. You loved my accent? Aww. Thank you. I think it was like, some people teased me for it, and also I didn't love listening to it, because to me it felt like sometimes it was like it wasn't necessarily like just like an accent sort of thing. To me it sometimes felt like it was like I'm not speaking properly. I'm not speaking English correctly. So I was like, you know, I think I was very gung-ho about like fixing that. I think maybe just to counter a creative block is just creating things for the sake of creating. Making a video not even to be perceived, but just to get the energy flowing. Yeah. I'm gonna challenge myself to create something today. Oh my god, yes. That's so iconic. If like somehow out of this stream, y'all can like, y'all create stuff, something. Just gonna make videos to make videos, even if they're bad, and then just private it if it's really, really bad, right? Yeah, do it. Do it. Oh my god. Yes. I love that. I love that so much. I need to apply that to my own shit, but I'm glad that somehow that kind of like came across to y'all as well. Holy shit. I will say this stream has been very lovely to just say what's on my mind and try not to judge myself too much. I had no expectations for this stream. I was like, I'm just gonna take a selfie for the thumbnail. I'm just gonna say hello. And I was like, that's gonna be it, girl. And no expectations today. And sometimes no expectations is good, I guess, because this has been lovely seeing everybody. You're also kind of on the vibe of creating content that I want to see out in the world. Ooh, yes. Be the change you want to see in the world. Be the content creator you want to see in the world. I love that. Also, just like, I keep saying content creation and content. Some of my worst, like, I hate it. I hate the notion of content creation. Because I feel like nowadays it's the best word to describe what I do, but it's such a reductive word as well, because it's like, well, everything is content and nothing is content if you think about it, right? We used to describe things with words. Like, you know, gaming videos, vlogs, documentaries, music. But now it's like we just reduce everything down to content, which is very sad. It doesn't change the fact that people are still outputting all of those things that I just mentioned. It's just that I feel like we all see it as like one thing now, I guess. Everything is content. That's how also I've been able to get through these daily videos. Because sometimes, and this is I don't know. I was gonna say this is a bit grim, but kind of, sort of, I don't know. I always think wow, that's weird sentence. Let me try that again. I always think that I'm not interesting enough, or that my life isn't interesting enough, or that, you know what I mean? Like, I always feel like when it comes to like, if I were to vlog my life, I'm like, my life is boring, uninteresting, but because I've forced myself to film something every day, I've just, like, I started from things like just looking around and being like, okay, today is going to be a cleaning day and I'm going to document that. And then like, ooh, I'm going to show off my physical games collection. Ooh, I had a thought. Let me share it. Ooh, I am a thought. Let me share it. No. No. My DM's open. Just like my app. Nope. Nope. I'm kind of on the, yes, I already read that. But you know what I mean? Like, sometimes we're like, you know what it is also? Creative block sometimes is not that you don't have any ideas. It's that we're too judgmental of our own ideas. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Because I was telling a friend the other day, like, oh, I was thinking of doing this thing for the streams. And they were like, why don't you do it? And and like, I felt like so clocked. I was like, oh. But then, like, and that conversation started with me being like, I don't know what to do. I don't have any idea. And I was like, no, you have ideas. You just like, you're mean to yourself about those ideas. You were a thought and you shared it. Exactly. Don't read me too much. I did, and I will do it again. Don't call me Leah Michelle the way that I'm reading these hoes. Trying to fix your thoughts so that you're not froze. Yup. Close enough. Close enough. I don't know why I decided to do a verse. I don't know. I don't know why I thought that was the move. Yep. Oh. That happened. Cool. It was the move. You can't take it back. No, I surely can't. It was caught live on camera. What if what if I were to edit this out of the VOD and you just see like a jump cut from like me, like it's just a jump cut to something else. But it doesn't make any sense because like I cut out the thing that I did. Oh my god. This has been very nice, y'all. It really has. I felt so bad in the early bits of the stream because I felt like I was just complaining and I was just like, boo-hoo, poor me. But it's actually been so nice to sort of feel seen, and that I get to also relate with the things that y'all are going through yourselves, and that we can also have this moment of like, we see each other kind of thing. So it's been very, very nice. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I hope that somehow the takeaway from today is that we're not gonna put, we're all gonna put at least one step forward towards that one thing that we've been wanting to make, or that we've been overthinking lately, or whatever. Numa Ila. I don't even know what the song is. It means on an island. Which is funny because when you feel like you're alone, you feel like you're on an island. You feel like you're an island. You're isolated from everybody, and that nobody can relate. Tap into Numa Ila by Marina Senna. I never thought in my life that I would have somebody from the US recommending me a song in Portuguese. Never in my life I thought the day would come. Jesus. You're not alone. You're not alone either, Ash, okay? Born on an island in the heavens? No, mama. Hell. Mama. Oh no. Mana's quoting something that I don't know what it is. I'm missing a reference here. Oh no. Oh no. Is that Nicki Minaj? I don't know. I couldn't think of a song name for Nicki off the top of my head, so I was like, I was gonna make a joke. Why would I quote that Pepto-Bismol, bitch? I'm fucking screaming. That AI cover art using bitch. Ugh, don't get me started on AI cover arts and how artists need to stop. Because it makes their shit look so cheap. Nothing screams low budget more than using AI art. Oh. You ate with that. You ate with that. You ate with that. Damn. To think that I liked some of our early stuff is like so sad now too. It is very weird when like at some point you've enjoyed something from someone who then turns out to be like a weirdo. You know what I mean? The pink print era. Jeez. Quite disappointing, yes, to say the least. Isn't that just the music industry? I mean that could be literally any industry. Like I was thinking like YouTube videos and content creators that turn out to be disappointing people. I was thinking like actors that turn out to be disappointing people. I was thinking writers, producers. Like it's literally like the world at large. Friendships. Have you ever looked back at like a friend that you've had and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? Or like, I would never put up with that sort of shit anymore. Like, I would literally never know. But we've all had a friend or two that we're like, wow, how did I enjoy being around that person? Anyways. Yeah. It's very odd. Very odd. But it is what it is. And I tell it how it is, mama. Miss Diva Boots. Diva Boots. You're gonna be Diva Boots. Okay, anyway. We're all shitty people at some point. It just relies on whether we realize that and change or stay the same. Well, I mean, yeah. To quote Hannah Montana, nobody's perfect. You gotta work it. But it's so true. She was so right. She was so correct. Bye, Mana. Oh my god. You had a friend who used to come at you wild and you never had the language to express yourself, but now you can read a bitch, so you're excited for the moment someone gets out of line. Ooh! You're like, I've been waiting to unleash wrath upon some trying hoe. I love that. I love that. I feel like I've lost that a little bit, like, not in the sense of like I let people walk all over me, but in the sense of like I'm just not as defensive anymore. I feel like if like I feel like if I don't enjoy someone's energy anymore, I just sort of quietly just like mute or block or just sort of slither away. Like, I feel like I used to make a little bit of a kind of like a statement or a little nasty little subtweet or something. But like, I feel like nowadays it's just like when something is sort of off, I just sort of like quietly retreat, and I may talk about it with a friend privately, but like it's not worth my energy. You know? Your brain wanted me to say tragic hoe. Oh, when I said trying hoe? Leaving Twitter was the best thing for your mental health. Why? I'm sure you can find shitty people in any other platform. Leaving Twitter was very interesting to me because I still, well, I don't post on Twitter anymore because what's the point? But I still lurk on there because there's still accounts on there that haven't moved to any other platform, and I'm kind of like, well, you know, I still want to see their stuff. But Twitter is rough to scroll through, especially now. It's like half of it is like accounts with check marks posting something that was like reposted without permission, or some sort of like rage baiting sort of situation to try to get people to say, to like get mad at them kind of thing. And then like the replies to some posts are just like a wall of bots. It's like, I didn't know this was a thing, but it's like the dead internet theory. Have y'all heard about that? It's basically this theory that like the internet is actually less populated. As far as I'm aware, it's like something along the lines of like the internet isn't as populated as we perceive it to be because a lot of it is like bots and stuff like that. So yeah. The media I consume on Twitter is so silly, but I still gag for it a little. There's still some good stuff across the board, but yeah. The way Twitter was wired in your brain in a way where you were constantly on it, and when you were constantly on it, it affected the way you interacted with people in your life. Oh, interesting. I kind of get that a little bit. Like I feel like my go-to now is Blue Sky. I just find myself instinctively opening that. And it's also not great for me mentally, I will say, because to me, it feels like it's the perfect sort of place for me to compare myself with others. Because it's like, well, there's no algorithm here, but like, it's this weird thing where like seeing, it's almost like, I feel like in my head, everyone started on there from scratch, but that's not true, because whoever already had an audience somewhere else just slowly rebuilt it, or at least rebuilt it to Blue Sky's standard, I guess. So it's like, But at least the thing with Blue Sky is that I'm less inclined to participate in bullshit, because if I don't like something, I will just mute it at the very least, and I will easily block somebody. Like, I don't have an issue with blocking people, and you will get blocked for literally any reason. It doesn't matter. And it's great. It feels like a new chance to sort of start fresh and really curate your social media, like what you want to see. So that's nice about it. But I guess the thing is, you can do that for every social media. Even if you've had like your Instagram or whatever for however long you've had it, there's always a chance, like you're never late to curate your timeline. Like, literally get rid of anything that doesn't, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just get rid of any, like, somebody, I saw this screenshot from an old Tumblr post that was like, oh, you block you block people for so many reasons, like for so many silly reasons, or you block people all the time. And it's like, yeah, and the person was like, yeah, because this is my social media platform. This is not fucking a town hall meeting where I have to hear everyone's everyone's grievances. They're like, yeah, because it's my fucking social media page and I don't have to deal with any of that shit. And it's like, yeah, like that's how it should be for everybody. Anyways, Twitter's just bots and baiting questions like who eats first. Oh my god, ew. Yeah, a lot of rage baiting. So much rage baiting. Jesus Christ. You're always angry and enraged and sad and filling yourself with bad news, bad interactions and stuff. Like, it's okay to be upset and be aware, but that type of social media can be an emotional weapon. People are always calling someone out or trying to gotcha someone, and honestly, I'm just like, it's too much. Yeah. Yeah, I think that also comes down to like curating your timeline. I feel like I don't say it. I feel like people don't do it enough. Like, you don't have to just eat whatever the algorithm feeds to you. And I feel like that was especially a thing with streamer Twitter, Mana. And feeling like you have to be, or at least at the time, feeling like you had to be a part of it because that's where everyone was. But at the same time, everyone was so fucking annoying. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to be a part of that. Like, I've developed, I feel like, listen, turning 30 was kind of like not a miracle, but it like something has changed within me. Like, fully, like, since last year, it's like I've developed this sort of like not weird, but it came out of nowhere, this sense of like no nonsense policy kind of thing. Well, I want to say no nonsense, but I feel like I still tolerate a bit, that I shouldn't. But low nonsense vibes. And so I've been very lenient about blocking, unfollowing, muting, and it's been great. TikTok just came back. What? The welcome message was not it? Oh shit. Was it something like, because I know the message when it got banned was like, oh, we're working hard with the president of the United States for us to get it back or whatever. Oh, I see it. They're like thanking Trump for it. He was the one who started the ban. We were just talking about it earlier. Guys, he was the one who started it 5 years ago. But at least, it's back. So it's the stuntiest stunt that has ever stunted, girl. And we're talking about the man that had a major stunt. If we know, let's just say a big photo op. Let's say a big photo op opportunity. We all know what I'm talking about, right? Anyways. You know what I've sort of have realized, Mana, is that I feel like, and I'm partially guilty of doing that, where it's like, oh my god, the US is a mess, the US this, the US that. I think that's everywhere, guys. And I'm not saying it in a way of like, I think we all sing. I think I mean it in a way of like, the US is just more blatant, and just like, it's easier to clock it in the US because it's just like, what am I trying to say? Like, people always say like, oh, the US is like capitalism times 1,000. But we all live under that capitalistic society. We all do. It's just that it's almost like it's exaggerated over there. But it's like, it's almost more insidious that it's happening everywhere, but we can't clock it as easily. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying the US is great, and I'm not at all defending anything that's happening over there. What I'm saying is, I feel like sometimes people get too comfortable. Like, people are like, oh, good thing I'm in Canada. Good thing I'm in Europe. Good thing I'm in whatever. It's not any better where you are, bestie. Unless you actually live in one of those countries that actually have, like, the people's interests as their priorities. And, like, those, like, countries where, like, there's, like, the homelessness rate is, like, 0. Like, you know what I mean? Like, unless you live in a place that's, like, fierce, most places are not that. And I think a lot of people like to think that they live in a place that's fierce, and I think most places are not fierce. I think what it is, Mana, is that America is just bigger. So everything about it is a bigger spectacle. It's bigger everything, right? So it's not that it doesn't happen. And I know that you're also not saying that it doesn't happen in other places. And I'm not trying to take away from what's happening, obviously. But it's like, people are like, huh? Like, I feel like the vibes in Europe for a while when Trump first got elected was like, not this time, but like the very first time, was like, haha, isn't that funny? Isn't that weird? Aren't they silly? And then slowly, like, the right-wing wave started to hit Europe. And it's like, right. Totally just a US issue. Uh-huh. No, yeah, totally. Like everyone else is fine, right? No, they're not fine. So it's I think the thing about the US is also that it's a younger country if we're going to like comparatively to like Europe where everything is fucking ancient. I think yeah, I guess the US is just like more it's just like the US is that person who like thinks that they're being sneaky but they're totally not, and everyone else is like sneaky but like people can't, like, you know what I mean? With that being said, the fact I don't think many other countries, well, probably some can relate, but I would say as a whole, I don't think a lot of other countries would pick somebody who I don't think a lot of other countries would vote for somebody who was a literal criminal who also encouraged an insurrection. I don't think I find it difficult to think of countries where people willingly picked somebody like that to be their president. There's definitely countries where people have, unfortunately, no choice, and where that's the case. But yeah, it's pretty grim. Oh yeah, I mean, Europe, I feel like the root of all evil is here in Europe. You learned about how the US and I guess Western countries dictate a lot of things that go on globally. Like a lot of third world countries are decentralized through the means of other powerful countries. Yeah. And then powerful countries make themselves appear as the saviors. Yeah. The powerful countries create these issues and then they try to come up with solutions for them. Like it's the, Trump wanting to ban TikTok and then acting like he just saved it. Like it's that, but like globally. It's like powerful countries stealing from African countries and then like fake doing charity for those countries, even though they were the ones who stole from them. And then they're like, no, we're helping them so much. It's like, you stole from them. Like you stole from them. You built what you have off of their backs. But now you're acting like you're helping them out, but you're really not. You're really not. It's disgusting. It's fucking wild. Like over here we literally learn about because Portugal as a coastal country from Europe, I don't think it shocks many people to learn that yeah. I don't think it's shocking to say that Portugal was like one of the big three as far as like colonizing goes. But we learn about it in history, at least like I did. I don't know how it is nowadays, but when I went to school, we didn't learn from it necessarily as in like, ooh, colonization bad. It was like Portugal owned everything. Portugal, like, we discovered all these places. We owned like, we were such a big, like, we were, wow. You were big fucking thieves. That's what you fucking were. Like, you weren't like any fucking heroes. Like, it was bad. It was like Portugal, France, and the UK were like, well, not the UK, like the big three, I think, were like, or I guess the big four? Britain, yeah. Britain, Portugal, France, and I think also Spain. Were like, they were basically like devising a plan to be like, okay, you get this part of Africa, we get this part, and then you get that, and then like, huh? That's not, it wasn't yours to begin with. What do you mean? Like, they're just claiming this land. But it's taught, what bothers me is that it was taught to us in history as if it was like we were so major. Like, it was like, wow, like it was like they were heroes, like, or they were these geniuses that discovered like so many of these countries or whatever. It's like, no, the country, I always thought it was weird because I was like, how did they discover them if people were already there? It's like, it always like, it didn't really click for me. Like, how did they discover Brazil if there were people in Brazil already? Like, you didn't discover it. There were people there already. You just took it from them. Like, that's not like, it's like, that's not how that works. And here's the twist. But and people, modern Portuguese people dare to be fucking racists towards Brazilian people that come here to immigrate here, as if their ancestors weren't actively stealing from Brazil. Like, what are we talking? Like, what is happening? What is happening? What is going on? Like, I know you're not trying to villainize them. Like, this is outlandish. And also, the people who discovered Brazil were fucking dumbasses because they had a map to India and they just went straight and they found Brazil. Like, they were celebrated as like, ooh, they found, like, they fully thought they were in India, you guys. They fully thought they were in India. And it was like, girl, you went in a straight line to Brazil. What are you talking about? Anyways. Your heart goes out to all the culture lost because of it. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I've seen some people who have went to the I don't know what it's called, like the British Museum or something like that, and it's like just like artifacts from like not Britain. It's like, it's basically a collection of things that were stolen over the years. It's like, how is this the British Museum when most of the things here aren't British? They're mad because Brazil got some good songs. Please. Portugal has some good music too, I would say. But no, it's weird. There's like this very weird... there's always been this sort of weird... it depends on where you live, of course. But there's like a weird... some Portuguese people have this weird antagonistic energy towards Brazilians, which is like really weird. It's very, very weird. Like, yeah, it's very weird. I don't know how else to put it. It's just it's very strange. It's very like ingrained, and like insidious in a few ways where it's like, yeah, it's very, it's hard to describe it. It's very strange. And like, they should have been mad at us, but they're just like minding their business You know, like they're just like, oh, I'm here to like make a better, like to get a better life for my family and make some money. Meanwhile, the fucking colonizers are mad. Like, you got this wrong. Like, they're the ones who should be mad, not you. But anyways, that taps into like the alt right bullshit of like, you know, anti-immigrant bullshit and stuff like that. That is also one thing I will say about the Portuguese as a whole. It's like the people, generally speaking, very contradictory, because Portugal is one of the places in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, that has the highest rate of like people who go to other countries to immigrate. And yet, we have such a big wave of people who are anti-immigration. It's like, hold on. Hold on a minute. How does that work? Like, it's, yeah, very contradictory. I mean, but to be fair, a lot of people who are like very alt-right driven are very, like, their stuff doesn't add up really. Like, their views don't really add up. The stuff that they complain about isn't really like in line with like what they do in their lives. And yeah, it's very strange. Very, very strange. But yeah, I mean, well, I'm glad TikTok is back, I guess. It was gone for a whole of like not even 24 hours. Yeah, apparently it is back. Yeah. Apparently she's back. And like apparently when you open it, it's like a whole message being like, thank you so much to the US president for working alongside us to get the application back. You told yourself that if TikTok came back, you'd post on it because the way people were crying, they must have made money. Oh, yeah. Like, the NPC live streamers on there make money. The girlies who go viral on there make money. Like, yeah, they... there's a lot of money to be made in TikTok. On TikTok. Girl, I'm on that club of people that are like, I was too prideful to make a TikTok account at first and to make a little TikTok dance, and now I'm broke and they're not. Like, if only I made a little silly cringy TikTok fucking dance. If only I put my pride aside and did some shitty dances on TikTok. 2025, we're getting the bag. Yes. I'm claiming that. I've been very adamant about how I want 2025 to be the year I no longer flop. I don't know why I had to do that. Can't flop if my head is cut off. Nope. It's a joke. It's a joke. I'm okay. It's a joke. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, What's the takeaway from today's stream? To just make more shit and make less excuses. That's the takeaway from today's stream. Make more, excuse less. Make more, overthink less. More, ooh, I like that. More shit, less excuses. More shit, clogged toilet. I don't know. I don't know why I had to say that. More shit taking me out. Mama, get that shit out. Drink more water, eat more fiber, get that shit out. Oh, please. Anyway, I think that's a good lesson to learn today. I think that's I think that's a good lesson. As I was saying earlier though, I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream again tomorrow, because usually I would stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. That was basically my schedule on Twitch before I got banned, and that was the schedule I kind of implemented when I restarted streaming here on YouTube. However, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I was saying this earlier in the very beginning of the stream, and that's sort of the reason for this whole stream to begin with, was that it's unclear what direction I want to take the streams into next. My instinct off the bat is to, instead of having myself divided between different games, that I really want to like lock. I think the theme is going to be locking in. So I think the idea is that I'm going to take Metaphor ReFantazio, I'm going to finish that on stream, and I'm going to focus on that one game for the next times that I stream, and in between streams posting clips of that game so that people get attracted to, or that people know that I'm streaming that at all, and that people discover me out there on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, and that I sort of exist and I put myself out there doing this thing. And maybe I can sort of do that for other things and just sort of take one thing at a time. Because I really do love to make a full playthrough. I have thought about doing a sort of like, so, okay, this is a very long-winded sort of thing, so stick with me here, okay? I have thought about, so I've always thought it was an interesting thing. There's somebody on Twitch called Mel who does, like, they have this challenge called the Rental Challenge. So they basically, their playthroughs of every game that they play are basically like, if you went to Blockbuster, or like, I don't know if I think we had Blockbuster here, but I don't remember it. But like the whole concept of their stream is that if they went to a rental store and they have a game for like 3 or 4 days and they play as much as they can of that game in 3 or 4 days and then they return it, right? And that was sort of their concept. I don't know if they still do it or not. Because again, I feel like I kind of lost touch with a lot of Twitch stuff since I got banned, and like I haven't really refollowed people. Like, you know what I mean? Like I can sort of lurk and watch people, but like it's not like I can really like, you know, be out there and like following a bunch of people and all that stuff. At least not publicly anyways. Because it would make it very difficult for me to get my account back if Twitch was like, you're circumventing your ban, you're still here. So like I don't chat in anybody's streams, and like, yeah, I still keep tabs with certain people, but it's hard to keep up with everything. Anyways, and so I thought it could be cool to be like, oh, maybe I could just like dedicate like a week to a specific game, and I could, you know what I mean? Like I would do a game a week sort of thing. But as much as I love that concept, you know what I also fucking love? A juicy motherfucking JRPG that doesn't take just a week to do. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's where I'm a little torn, where it's like, do I want to just like dedicate a bunch of my time with one specific game, and then like, because I do think that that's a cute idea. And then I thought of another idea, because I saw a video somebody made that was like, oh, treat your backlog as if it's like a library that you go to, and you like instead of thinking that you have to play all of the games on there, treat it like a library. And I thought another step further, where like, what if I treated it like a library, in the sense of like every month I limited myself to like 1 or 2 or I don't know, however many games, and like I only played those games for that month kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I've been in my library era. You can sort of see it in the corner, like the little pile of books that I got from the library. Because you can bring home up to like 6 books, and I brought 5. I finished one of them already. Well, it was Heartstopper, so it was like a graphic novel comic book sort of vibe. In any case, I did think like, what if I took that approach as well, of like, you know, limiting myself to like a certain amount of games from my backlog, but every month I sort of like take out, which would be kind of similar to like that one game a week sort of thing if you think about it, because each month has like 4 weeks, so it could be like 1 game per week kind of thing. But I guess the other way that I could do it, now that I'm thinking about it, it could be for me to like, because for example, like I didn't bring like 5 huge books. Like I brought books that I'm like, I wanted to give myself some variety, also so I can figure out what I like to read. But also like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, if I had like a game like Metaphor ReFantazio for that month, I could also pick out other games that would be like way shorter, so that within that month I didn't just play that one game, but like, you know what I mean? So that could be something else. Like, yeah, that could be another thing to think about. Like, it would be like a big game like that, but then like other one-offs, so that I could do that. That's something to think about. I don't know what I would call it. That's a whole other step ahead that I haven't really figured out. But that could be an interesting takeaway. Because my thing for this year for games was that I wanted to play more. Because the year before, 2023, I played a lot of games. Like I started a lot of games, but I didn't finish most of them. Last year, I finished more games, but I played way less in general. So my thing for this year was to play more. from start to finish, just generally speaking. You know what I mean? So, yeah. All of that to say, I don't know what the streaming schedule is going to look like. So you might see me going live on days that I usually wouldn't. And you might see me not streaming on days that I normally would. Because maybe I'll dedicate some of those days to like editing and getting stuff edited and scheduled and ready to go. And maybe I'll feel like streaming on days where I normally would take the day off, or you know what I mean? So yeah, please be patient with me. I think streaming this year, I feel like everything in my life I've sort of managed to shift it in a positive way, with like posting shorts and like even like my life, like with me staying more on top of like having cleaning days every Saturday now, instead of like just sort of, you know, being more chaotic about that, and like, you know, trying to have at least one day a week where I go out of the house and do something different. And you know what I mean? Like I try to have a time where like I watch films for the first time, and you make a whole TikTok or a post about it. But streaming has been the one thing that I haven't really like snapped, I guess is not the word at all, but I've been snapping, and that's not the word I want. But you know what I mean? Like I haven't, I guess, not to keep saying the same thing, but I've locked in with a lot of other things, but not with streaming. And so I want to change that. And so, yeah. It's going to be a process, and it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to be probably very smooth, but I will try to make something work, and we'll see if I manage to. Because I would hate to like stop streaming, because I love to stream, but I also don't love to stream without a direction, or feeling like I am going through the motions, or feeling like I'm just sort of like fulfilling a schedule, but that you know what I mean? Like I'm fulfilling a schedule, but the schedule isn't fulfilling me, because like I have all these thoughts of like I'm flopping and this isn't resonating with people or whatever. So, but also not wanting to stop what I've been doing. So it's like, how do you want to change, but also not change? So it's very odd. So stay tuned, I guess. You're better than me because I still have to deep clean. Ooh. You know, I've been... Deep cleaning for me has been a process. I basically dedicated a full Saturday. The first Saturday of the year, I dedicated it to full cleaning. And what I did was I did as much as I could that day. So I did like my bed. I did like the shelves. It's kind of like a shelving unit sort of thing, where like there's my consoles and stuff like that. So I did that. Like I unplugged everything, I cleaned everything, and then I did my desk, and then I was exhausted, so I didn't do anything else. Last week I did, what did I do? I did like a softer clean on the things that I already cleaned the week before, including like the bed and stuff like that. And I did something else. Wait, was it this week? Hold on. This isn't week 2. What am I? I think I did like half of these shelves behind me, or something like that. And then I like a bunch of like laundry stuff. And then I finished the shelves behind me as well. Like this was yesterday. I finished that. It was like because I feel like basically what I'm trying to say is like, do it in parts. Like, you don't have to do the whole, like, I still haven't tackled my closet. What I'm trying to say is like, what works for me is like doing it, having a cleaning day and then just doing whatever needs to be done that week, and then like the next week you can just do something else. You can tackle different things rather than feeling like you have to do everything in one day, because if you think that, it's gonna be, you're not gonna want to do it. So think of it as like, okay, let me start deep cleaning. Let me start with this thing, this corner, this part of this corner. You know what I mean? It's the bare minimum sort of mentality, where you have to have some sort of goal, but not too big to the point where you don't want to do it, but small enough that you can sort of build on it. You know what I mean? And that's been working for me, so I would hope that that does for y'all as well. Because I think my problem with a lot of things is like getting started. That's my issue with a lot of, like, that's my issue with most things in life, is just like needing to schedule an appointment. Like, it's not like difficult to schedule an appointment, but getting yourself to do it, I find it so difficult. For example, so sometimes even like something like that, like something as simple as like, okay, open the website. Just open the website. You don't have to do it today, just open the website. And then, okay, log in. You don't have to do anything else, just log in and maybe see if they have any availabilities. You know what I mean? Like, but it's so hard. With literally anything, like, and that's why I'm really looking forward to getting my shit diagnosed and maybe like medicated for and stuff like that, because it's so exhausting to always feel like most things are such a mountain to climb to do. Such things that are so normal for so many people that sometimes it genuinely feels like you have just like a huge mountain in front of you and you're like, I don't know how to get to the top of the mountain. It's like, well, you have to start. You just have to walk to it first, you know? Like, you have to climb those little steps, climb over those little rocks, you know, and then it slowly over time adds up to you being at the top of the mountain. But it can be so overwhelming and so tiring, and like, even like mentally, just like you work yourself up to do it that so much that like sometimes you feel a little silly when you do it and you're like, oh my god, it wasn't that hard. Exactly. It's like what you're saying with the bank stuff. Like, it wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that difficult. It's like the essay thing that I was talking about. Like, we work it up to be such a like, oh my god, this is going to be so boring. This is going to be so time consuming. This is going to be so nasty and rotted and evil. And then like the day before it hits and you're like, okay, bitch, you got to do it. You got to do it. And you just do it and you find a way to do it and you do it in like 3 hours. And you're like, fuck, I could have done this like in advance. You know what it reminds me of as well? Like the Persona series and Metaphor ReFantagio, to be exact. Not to bring this back to like promote my gaming stuff, but like that game, if you're not familiar with how Persona works, and with Metaphor is very similar in that respect, where like the game has these like events that sort of happen, like these sort of like, okay, on that day something is going to happen, so you have to prepare for it, or you have to do something before that day. And so the game sort of gives you like a timeline, but it gives you the freedom to do whatever you want until that timeline. And so you can either procrastinate and side quest until like the day before and then you try it, or you can start early and you go towards the main quest, and then once you're done with the main quest, you have all those days of free time until the next big mark. You know what I mean? So that game has also been sort of eye-opening to me in a way where like, what if I take that sort of approach to my life? Like, what if I set a deadline and then I just allow myself to like noodle through it, like noodle around through it? Like, okay, do I, like, maybe I'll do little things every day leading up to it, or maybe I'll have a couple days where I do a ton of progress towards it, and then I have a few days where I don't do anything towards it. What I found really good was like, I didn't click on the video, but I basically, I got the gist of it because it's how it kind of works for me. Like building systems and not goals, like setting up systems and not goals. And what I mean by that is like, for example, for this year, I said, I want to make a short video every single day. I didn't necessarily put a target on like, I want every video to perform a certain way. I want to gain a certain amount of subscribers or followers or whatever. I just said, I'm going to do this thing every single day. And so building little habits, like, for example, I've been journaling, like basically first thing I do, like after I, bathroom stuff in the morning and all that, like as I'm eating breakfast or sometimes before breakfast, I dedicate some time. I didn't know that they had a name for it. It was like a friend of mine, Sin, said that that's like the morning pages method, where you just like open a journal and you just fill out like 2 or 3 pages with whatever's on your mind. It's almost like a brain dump. So I've been doing that as a morning habit, and just sort of like, building kind of like habits and systems, something that you can sort of like do long term, rather than like, coming up with these like huge fucking mountainous goals that you don't know how you're gonna get done. Like, no, like, if you want to write a book, don't put your goal down as like, I want to write a book. Your goal should be to write something, anything, for like 10 minutes a day. And then if you start doing, and because like what happens sometimes, oh my God, I'm like, I get into these like very passionate rants. So here we go. Sometimes when you're setting up your goals, and when you're setting up something like, oh, I want to do something like and you think about it, like 10 minutes a day seems silly. It doesn't seem like a lot of time. Like, that's silly. That's a silly goal. But if you think about it, 10 minutes minimum every day adds up over the course of a year. You know what I mean? And it's better to do 10 minutes every day than to do 1 hour one day and then you don't write for like 2 months, and then you write for like half an hour randomly on a Tuesday, and then you don't write for another 2 months. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, getting into like making things into habits, like making something into like, how can I squeeze this into my day in a way that like makes sense, and in a way that sounds appealing, and in a way that sounds doable, right? Because like, if I were to tell myself like, oh, I'm gonna edit for 5 hours every single day, probably not gonna happen. But if I tell myself to do at least like 30 minutes to an hour, maybe I could do that. Maybe I can imagine myself being like, okay, I'll do it for an hour, and then we'll see. And then oftentimes, once you've done that bare minimum, you're like, wait, I can do another hour. And then the thing is, sometimes if you can't do that other hour, if you're like, oh, I wanted to do another hour, but I just did 30 more minutes. Guess what? You already did the minimum of an hour. Congratulations. You did extra work. Pat yourself on the back. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And also, we were talking about it earlier. somebody was saying like, what was it? Like somebody was saying like just doing something creative even if it never sees the light of day kind of thing. We were sort of talking about that even with videos, like even if it just goes private. I saw a short from a songwriter that was like, this hack has changed my life. They said, obviously a very like kind of clickbaity sort of hook, but whatever. But they said that whenever they're doing a session or whenever they're songwriting and they come to a blank, they pull out a coloring book and they start to color. And they said that it helps to get their brain, their creative side of their brain engaged with something that isn't songwriting, so that the creative juices are still flowing and they eventually start getting ideas for songwriting. But they have to, does that make sense? Am I explaining that properly? Like, they will dedicate like creative time for something that's not what they need to do in order to get their creative juices going, so that then once their creative juices start going, then they're like, ooh, let me tap into that now, you know? So I think that's neat. So I think that's neat. That's all. Oh, exercising is a rough one. I've just been doing fitness Marshall videos. I would rather do that for at least like 30 something minutes a day than to just like do no working out. You know what I mean? Because if it's not fun, I probably won't want to do it. So it's like, I might as well go for something that's like juicy or whatever. I don't know why I opened Blue Sky while I'm streaming. I got distracted with what I was saying too. So yeah, again, all of that to say, first of all, thank you for coming to this stream. Now I'm really gonna end the stream because it's almost been 3 hours. But also I ran out of water, and also I don't think I have that much more to talk about and rant about. So first things first, thank you so much for coming. I am floored by how lovely this stream was, because I really came into it kind of with like a negative energy. Not really negative. I guess I just sort of had a thing of like, I have a lot on my mind that I want to get out, and this is going to be the stream to do it. And so I'm glad that it kind of resonated with y'all, and that hopefully it's going to get us in general to like pursue the creative endeavors that we want to in a way that's more like productive, but not necessarily in a grindy way, but more as in like, yeah, let's get this shit done, you know, let's do this. Motivated, more motivated, rather than like, you know, whatever. But so that's been wild to me, because I was not at all expecting that to sort of resonate. I genuinely thought, I don't know what I thought really, but I didn't really expect anything. I just sort of like, okay, here we go, we'll see, because I half was expecting just talking to a void for the whole stream. Partially, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, maybe this is going to be like a super short stream. Maybe this is going to devolve into me doing something else. I don't know. Like, I just genuinely didn't have a thing for today's stream. But anyways, thank you. Thank you so much. Stay on the lookout. Because I still haven't posted today's shorts. So I don't know what that will be about. I wonder if I could probably edit something from this stream or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll probably have dinner first and then I'll think of something. In any case, I will see you when I see you. And I will try not to overthink that too much because I love streaming and I don't want to overthink that. So I'll be back potentially maybe tomorrow. No promises though. I will definitely stream this week, but I wanna do it more intentionally. Like I said, I don't want to just like noodle around in it and just sort of like hope for the best. Like I wanna be a little more intentional about it. So yeah, that's the goal. See you soon. See you around. Stay juicy, stay lovely. I appreciate you very, very much. And also like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. I don't know. Bye. Ooh.